Hey guys, welcome to Actors Review. My name is Travis Conover.
And I'm Ed Squires, and today we are reviewing Central Intelligence, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and little man Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Check it out.
My man!
You better back up, man.
Whoa, Calvin, it's me, Bob.
Sorry, do I know you?
Robbie Weirdick from high school.
God, man, look at you. You've lost like 200 pounds. What did you do?
I just did one thing.
Alright guys, so welcome to the first ever episode of Actors Review. We have, like I said, my name is Travis, this is Ed Squires. We'll tell you a little bit about ourselves just so you know who we are and how we are qualified to do an Actors Review. So why don't you go ahead and start out, bro?
My name is Ed. I'm an actor myself. I'm currently on Amazon's original series, The Interestings, and I also have a movie coming out July called Nerve, starring Dave Franco and Emma Roberts.
Yeah, so things that I'm in right now, I've done some high-end modeling with Ralph Lauren, Versace, done some commercials, and more notably, recently, my film, The Trial of Every Man, just went to the Cannes Film Festival where I played one of the lead roles there. So we are both actors. We actually train at the same school. That's how we met. And now we do some work together as well as giving you Actors Review. So we are actually showing you something from the actor's point of view that you don't normally get to see. Usually we have, you know, critics who have no idea what it's like to be on set and have no idea what they're talking about most of the time.
And have never been actors before.
Right, and have never been actors. So we see it from a different side. So let's begin with the criteria. What are we actually judging today? First
Number one
is story.
The story.
Obviously, probably the most important part, right? Is
Yeah.
the writing. We have characters, obviously extremely important. Cinematography, post-production, which is, you know, music, the editing.
Yep.
Everything on the cutting room floor is really
Everything
what makes
that
it
comes
so good.
after filming.
Right. And then our special awards, which is something that we kind of do on our own.
And it's going to be new every single week.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and begin with the story.
So we have Central Intelligence, starring Kevin Hart as Calvin Pryor. When we first see Kevin, he's the most popular kid in high school. He's basically the best at everything in his high school. And we have Rock, The Rock, starring as Bob Stone. And when we first see him, he's in a precarious situation.
Yeah,
To say the least.
I'm sure you've seen some of the previews. Basically what happens is a life transformation for this character specifically. Part of the story arc is really his finding himself and then becoming comfortable with himself, I guess.
Basically, he goes from a stone to The Rock.
Yeah, exactly. And they actually kind of have a funny little play on words with his name in the film. So you guys will see that. We're not going to do any spoilers on this review. I'm sure you saw in the title, spoiler free. All of our stuff is going to be. But the story arc, what was your actual just subjective thoughts on it?
It kept me guessing.
Yeah.
The one thing I liked about this movie is it never took itself too seriously. It was never, you know, trying to be this highbrow comedy film, and it was never ever attempting to be this, you know, legit action film either. It sort of stayed right in the middle of it, which I loved. And the story actually really keeps you guessing because you actually have. I had no idea who the bad guy was until it was actually revealed. I mean, I guessed a couple times. I was wrong, I think, 3 or 4 times. But, I really, really enjoyed it. What about you?
Well, you know, I've said this more recently, just a normal conversation, is that comedy films are falling apart because their actual plot line is weak, right?
Yeah.
So that it's hard to write comedy when you don't have a real story, when you don't have something that's actually happening. So these characters get developed.
Yes.
But the storyline itself, like he said, kept you guessing it. And for a comedy, you don't see that very much anymore. So I was pleasantly surprised. All right, so as far as characterization goes, I think, you know, our main 2 guys were obviously The Rock and Kevin Hart. Like Ed said, I think Kevin Hart definitely shined in this movie. And I think part of it was they definitely let him take over his lines. They let him roll, and they always do, you know, on like Ride Along and stuff like that. You see a little bit of his comedy come out, but more so in this film, I think, than anything, they let Kevin riff.
They really cut him loose.
Yeah, which you kind of have to do. He's a stand-up comedian turned actor.
Yes.
So for him to really shine, you got to let him riff, and you got to let him kind of do his own thing, and they really did that. So his character was what normally turns out kind of annoying almost for Kevin Hart. And I love Kevin Hart. I'm not saying that he's annoying, but
Kevin Hart, you were the man.
Yeah, I love Kevin Hart. But what ends up happening is they don't necessarily write a likable character. They always write the underdog loser, which he kind of is in this film, but he ends up really shining because of, I guess, his own personal development.
Yeah, and his ability to play off The Rock. The Rock was fantastic in this movie.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't go into a movie starring Kevin Hart and The Rock and think that it's going to be this, Oscar-winning performance. But the two of them working together, and sort of Kevin acting as a straight man for most of the movie, because you never get to see The Rock in sort of this sort of shy, you see The Rock, he's 6'6", he's 250 pounds, all muscle.
Which is what I loved, is that they played him as a very shy person. And
he did such a good job of fleshing that out and really taking advantage of his own comedic talents. Because you rarely get to see that outside of, when he was on Raw or SmackDown, how truly funny he is.
Yeah.
And he did a really good job. The two of them working together was absolutely fantastic. To see their story arcs and their character arcs from beginning to end, to see, Calvin character start out as this extremely confident high school jock to basically realizing that, your success in high school isn't going to last, and then, seeing The Rock go from this loser in high school to this beefed up, huge, CIA agent, and then to sort of see that despite his position, his stature, he still had those insecurities.
Yeah.
And the two of them sort of fought their insecurities and where they are presently in their life throughout the rest of the movie, and I thought it was great.
It was like a double reverse underdog story.
Yes.
And I think that, just mainly speaking about the two main characters, because who played the wife? I'm so bad with names. She was fantastic. Kevin Hart's wife in the film is fantastic.
Danielle Nicolette.
Yes, and she's beautiful. Danielle, you're
Danielle, you are beautiful,
and you played really well. I've seen her in a couple other things. She's really great.
Amy Ryan played Agent Pamela Harris. She was, of course, she's just.
I saw her in the Office for the first time.
Yes,
loved her then.
She's solid.
And she really played it very well.
She's a rock. There were definitely a lot of nice cameos. If you want to be surprised about some casting choices, you can go on IMDb, or you can just go watch the movie. You'll be pleasantly surprised to see how many names you'd recognize in this movie. And
good cast.
Great cast. So, stylistically, cinematography, I thought, was, it wasn't anything crazy. You're not going to go here and see, Alejandro Inarritu's,
yeah, I wouldn't write
one shot for 15 minutes with, Native Americans falling out of trees, but I think the fight scenes were shot very well. The fight coordination was done extremely well. They obviously took advantage of The Rock's special talents, and he really shined in all those moments, as he should. But all of the extras and the background work done by these actors and these stunt performers, I thought was great.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. I think Hurricane Cardigo played one of the roles. I follow a couple stuntmen. I do a lot of stunts. I do martial arts and stuff like that. That's part of how I got started in my career. But no, I'm sorry. It was Action Jason played one of the characters, and he did that corkscrew and kicked The Rock in the face.
Yeah,
which was awesome. He did a fantastic job on that.
Yeah, there was one scene where The Rock got punched with a bike.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That was incredible work by that stuntman. Whoever that was really cool. They didn't cut, so it wasn't.
Yeah, it was very.
It wasn't movie magic. That was actually done, so it was very, very nice.
The one thing I will say about cinematography, because that's really what we're talking about here, which we just love stunt guys. They make us look so good.
Yeah,
so thank you, stunt guys. But honestly, the only thing I didn't like about the film, because everything was pretty run of the mill, it was pretty standard, it was well done, it was solid. Just shaky cam during fight scenes, I'm not a fan of it. And some of the shaky cam during The Rock's fight scenes was a little too much for me. I think we would have liked to see a little less cutting and a little less shaking. That's just me personally.
So now we're on to post, which will include the score of the film, the soundtrack, any additional Foley or ADR, basically everything that comes after filming's done. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so like we said, a lot of a lot of the film is very run-of-the-mill. A lot of the cinematography is run-of-the-mill. A lot of things get chopped on the cutting room floor, and we don't know, what was left out. We may get an extended edition when it comes out on
I really hope so.
DVD. And yeah, because I think there were some things that could have been fleshed out a little bit better, and maybe the extended edition, another 20-30 minutes, we could see some scenes that we missed out on.
And I could definitely sit through another 20-30 minutes of that film.
Yeah, and it was
100%.
Close to 2 hours,
Yeah.
but it was solid the whole way
Yeah.
through. I think the ending was actually the weakest part for me.
Yeah, and it was still a surprise ending.
And it was still okay.
Was
Yeah, it was still okay, but I think the ending was the weakest part for me. But as far as music and sound effects and everything, I didn't see any errors. I didn't see any continuity errors either. Which was good. Which you see a lot of.
Yeah.
But I didn't see any continuity errors, so well done with that.
My favorite part was the CGI done in the first scene
100%.
with making The Rock look like this, flabby 17-year-old and making Kevin Hart look like he's
again.
17 again. It was
but
so
well done.
Well done. It was actually sort of incredible how they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, they had The Rock's face perfect, and the way they sort of what they did with Kevin Hart's face with the shading and with the light hitting in certain
pretty
places,
incredible.
I thought was extremely well
and they
done.
kept
There was
birthmarks and things that are natural.
And there was never a time where I was like, oh, that's CGI. I even turned to him at one point in the film. I was like, wow, that was really good.
Yeah.
He did that really, really well. That was
technology's insane.
A+.
A+, yeah, because more recently, we've been watching movies again, like Jurassic Park and Pirates of the Caribbean and stuff like that.
Caribbean.
And the technology has come so far, and even those were incredible, right? You look back on those, you're like, how was that early 2000s?
Yeah, the animatronics done on Jurassic Park, and then the CGI
So
done
good,
on
yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean was so well done, and to see
and this is even
how
that
far
much.
the technology has come
exactly.
to be utilized like they did.
It was
done.
darn near flawless.
Yeah.
So really good job
Really
to the
great.
post-editing, especially in that respect, I think was fantastic.
Definitely.
So yeah, like I said, post-editing, I had no problems with it. I had no problems at all. Really, really good job, actually. All right, guys, so on to probably my favorite part, and I think it'll become your favorite part too.
Yes, it will.
Is special awards. So, special awards. For me, anyway, goes to Best Cameo. So it's going to be different every week, and we even have different ones here, and I think they're both fun. But Best Cameo, a part where I was pretty much hysterical through the whole scene, goes to...
there were a lot of nice cameos in this movie, but this one took the cake.
But this one was really great. It was Kumail Nanjiani, and he's been in a couple different things. Life as We Know It, Sex Tape, Silicon Valley. He's been in a bunch of different things, but and Sex Tape is not what you think it is.
Yeah.
But he's been good in everything.
Yes.
But I think in this particular scene, he really shined. Go watch the movie, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. You will be laughing the whole time because his dry sense of humor really kind of stole that scene. Especially playing with Kevin, it was perfect.
Yes.
So, special award definitely goes to him for me anyway.
And my special award goes to The Rock and Kevin Hart and their ability to use a banana to subdue 4 men.
Yeah.
So, good going, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. So final verdict, I think, can be said that I didn't really have anything negative, and that's rare because there's a lot of really cruddy entertainment going on.
A little judgmental.
Yeah, and we're pretty rough on movies and stuff like that. Now, again, I'm not saying that this is an award-winning film. No one's getting the Oscar for this film.
Yeah.
There was some moments where you saw Kevin and The Rock even kind of laughing at each other. Because
but I think that added to the whole thing.
It was almost charming.
Yes.
It was charming because you know they're actually friends.
It wasn't the funniest movie that I've ever seen, but it certainly was not the least.
We definitely laughed. And a lot of comedies recently, I haven't been laughing. You know, you get a snicker here and there, and some comedies are just downright bad. I'm not going to name any, but
you will laugh from
maybe in another review.
You will laugh from beginning to end.
And you'll be surprised.
Yeah.
Which I think is the most important thing.
So, out of 10 stars, I'd say 7?
I think it's a solid 7.
A solid 7.
And you got to remember, guys, a lot of people
those stars are really, really colored in and really dark.
Yeah, no, it was good.
7.
Especially for a comedy.
Yeah.
It's rare that a comedy gets a 7 because the way we rate it is number 1 is absolute dog crap. Number 10 is cinematic perfection,
Yeah.
right? But a 5 is an average film, so 5 isn't actually bad.
No.
The way that we rate 5 is average. So this is an above average comedy,
film.
no question.
was
It's
very-
an above average film.
Very, very surprising.
Yeah.
To everyone that worked on Central Intelligence, we love you. It was great.
Great job, guys.